So, Nathanya, you only need to take care of your mental health if you have a diagnosed mental health condition.
Yeah, no. I think is my first answer to that. I think obviously there are those who have diagnosed mental health conditions who need a certain type of support, perhaps medication, perhaps a specific type of therapy, counselling, like those things are still true. But what's also true is that we all have mental health.
Yeah.
All of us have brains, all of us have bodies, all of us need to look after that. And some of us need help looking after that. I think just in general, no is my answer to that. Because everyone has mental health and everyone, I think, needs support in some sort of way at some point.
Yeah, totally agree. So the second myth, mental health only affects certain people.
I think similar to that question, because again, I think the language of using the word mental health again applies to everyone. So I'd say mental health affects all people. How it affects someone varies. I think that can be a subjective experience. How it may affect me, affects you, they can be different experiences. But no, I think mental health affects all people, and I think also the treatment for it can be quite unique as well, because of the difference in how it affects. For example, let's say myself, what I may need might be different to what you may need, and so on. And yeah, I think what are your thoughts on that?
I think that a lot of people say that it only affects certain people because they want to deflect and show a positive image of themselves, and they think that having a mental health condition or suffering with your mental health is a negative thing, where it's just a fact of life, it's just a thing that everyone goes through. So it's not just certain people, it's absolutely everyone. Right?
I agree with you, because I think there is a stigma toward mental health, and I think that probably impacts people's willingness to ask for support, look for support, speak about how they feel truthfully. And then you mentioned about imagery and this idea that people have to project a positive image. Like that's a very difficult thing to maintain and to continue. That in itself can impact someone's mental health if it's not true all the time. And yeah, I think you're right that in some sort of way it'll impact someone. When it's helpful.
What do you think about the impact that social media has on that?
I think social media can create this idea of everyone's okay. I think it obviously depends who you follow and what you post and what you see.
People got their best image of themselves. You don't really see when someone's had a bad day, or people don't really talk that much about the negative things going on in their life. It's always their best image, everything positive, to make themselves look good and feel better.
I agree that what people show tends to be more positive. I think why they do it, maybe to make themselves feel better, could be lots of reasons. There are obviously those pages and some people that show perhaps more their reality as well. So I think it really does depend what you see on your feed, and then what you choose to do individually, depending on Insta, Facebook, Twitter, whatever app it may be. But like, it can definitely create a pressure. I think if you see lots of people happy, lots of people on holiday all the time, or out all the time, or spending money, if you see that as an individual and then feel like your life isn't there, I think that can definitely have an impact on you and can impact your mental health.
Okay, we'll move on to the third one, which is asking for help with your mental health is a sign of weakness.
Again, I'm going to say no. I don't agree. I think what we spoke about today is how it can impact everyone. So are we saying everyone's weak because they have mental health? I think that's a ridiculous idea. However, I think the reality is lots of people feel that. Lots of men feel that as well. I can speak as a black man in my community. There's a stigma at times in some places about speaking about mental health. Then as a man as well, there's a stigma about being weak or I have to be strong. So that it has impacted me in different ways, and you have to navigate that. But no, I don't think. I think my opinion is that it's facing your reality, and honestly, I think that's the strongest thing possible. In my opinion, if you can face your reality. But I'm not going to pretend and say that's easy, or that there isn't real barriers to actually speak about it. Nor am I going to be hypocritical and say that I'm always the best at talking about it because I'm not. And yeah, I think as an individual, that's an ongoing journey. What about you and your experience of, I guess, speaking honestly?
Well, I think that it's a difficult one because you have different generations where they were taught different things, and now the newer generations are being taught that you should speak about it, and it is getting a lot better. But I think people that say that statement, they're either bigoted and they're stuck in their own ways and they're not willing to talk and understand the importance of mental health, or they just really genuinely don't understand because they weren't taught as a child or through their life that mental health impacts everyone. It doesn't make you weak. It's actually a strength to be able to come forward and make yourself vulnerable and talk about your problems. And it's also a strength to be able to talk with someone else about their problems and help them and guide them through anything that they're struggling with.
I agree with you that I think it's a strength. I think it's a really hard thing to do. So I definitely don't think anyone who can do it or does do it is weak, because it's not an easy thing. And again, yeah, I think what you touched on is this idea that by you speaking, it may help someone else. And I'm a big advocate for that not being the only reason to speak. Do it for you too. But if that is one of the impacts,
it could also help you by talking to someone else.
Exactly. That also, for lots of people, that's a meaningful thing and adds value into their own life. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, so the last myth is talking about your mental health means you're attention seeker.
Again, no, I don't agree. I can understand where the question's coming from, because I think through social media that it has got more people are talking about mental health, more people are showing maybe perhaps that they're struggling, they're experiencing it in different ways, so that the perception may be that they're attention seeking or they're looking for attention. I think this is a really delicate subject, is the truth. So I want to be careful. I remember in a local support group I used to run, I had a facilitator come in once, and she literally just said, if someone's crying for help. If when someone responds, oh, it's just a cry for help, and she's like, okay, help. And I do feel that strongly, because maybe ways of communicating it can come across as attention seeking, but if you are communicating that need of a struggle and that need for help, then the response should be to help. It definitely should be the first response. It shouldn't be you're an attention seeker or boy who cried wolf sort of vibe of, yeah, okay, we're not going to engage in that because it's not true. I mean, if that's what they're displaying, then there is truth there. What about you?
Well, yeah, I agree with everything you said there and everything you said today, and it's just like, people that say that, I think, do they sort of know what it means to be in that struggle themselves and need that help? Because if they were in that position and they needed help, and someone was saying, oh, you're just attention seeking, you're just being selfish, how would that make you feel? How would that make you feel when you're crying out for help and people are just pushing it back on you and making you feel like you're in the wrong for needing that? And there needs to be, it's getting better of course, but the stigma needs to go away that you're just attention seeking, you're weak, everything like this, because you have to search help, you have to cry out if you're in need, and if you don't, then that can spiral into worse things. We need to avoid them worse things if we can.
I agree with you. I think that some people who might view it as attention seeking might be projecting some of their own stuff, is the truth, and this idea that perhaps maybe it's unconscious, maybe it isn't, but this wanting to be able to express themselves but they can't. And then their anger goes out, or whatever feeling it is. It might not be anger.
They might be jealous.
Could be jealous.
Because they can't muster up the strength themselves to go and ask for help.
For lots of complex reasons. but I think in general we'd all benefit from being aware of our own stuff and what our own ways of acting and how it can impact others. Because I think if someone is expressing for help, despite whatever way they're going about it, the ultimate response should be to help. And you can engage in other things after, have other conversations about methods and ways of communicating, like those things are okay as well, you know, especially as we grow older. It's good to be honest and good to be direct, even with young people as well, to be honest. But the response should never be, oh no, you're just attention seeking, I'm not going to help. Still you have to help first.